let's just start off with, feeling the surface you're sitting on, the chair beneath you, noticing the quality of that feeling. Is it hard or soft? Focus on how it's supporting you, molding to your form. And maybe expanding that awareness. Feel your clothes as they brush against your skin. And maybe a slight breeze. Noticing any sounds that come into your ears, including my voice. How many individual sounds can you hear? Notice the sounds are near and which ones are far. And how do you know if a sound is close to you or far away? What makes that distinction? I'm very curious. Curious about what your body's feeling, areas that are warm or cool, tight, and relaxed. Noticing body sensations at the same time as sound. Just accepting any sounds that come into your ear. Nothing good or bad, just individual and distinct information entering the body. As you sit here in this relaxed state, I'm just curious, what area of your body is calling to you for attention?
I think I feel pretty relaxed. As we were going through that process, I started realizing I was thinking about, I've got 2 weeks of work travel coming up, and I found myself thinking about like work travel. I really like to eat super healthy, so my brain started planning around what I was going to eat and like all the logistics that go into getting healthy food when you're traveling. Started thinking about my calendar and like how I was going to be like responding to work while I was in work. And so I just kind of started going to all this logistics, and I could feel my spine kind of not in a painful way or anything, but just sort of like squeeze a little, kind of like in the middle of my spine.
So it sounds like two, very distinct different states were happening inside you at the same time. On the one hand, you were feeling the relaxation from the mini meditation, and on the other hand, there was another part of you that was, worrying about this trip and thinking about the logistics. How would it feel to just, really explore those two individual states that were going on and, the differences between those?
Sure. Yeah.
So focusing
Yeah. I'm
first
curious
on
about
that,
that.
yeah, and just how you knew, right? How your body knew when you relaxed versus when you were thinking and getting a little stressed. So focusing
Mhm.
first on the relaxation. How did your body let you know that you were relaxed?
Oh, I had this, it was this very distinct feeling where I felt my whole body just like
Mm,
settle in,
mm.
almost sort of like I had been sitting in my chair for a while, but then every part of my body got into the chair.
Nice, nice. There was a sense of, I see the hands going like this. So it sounds like a sense of this
Hmm.
kind of lowering. And I wonder
Yes.
if you repeat that a couple more times and just move the hands very slowly, like if they're going through
Hmm.
honey or molasses. Just
Hmm.
tell me what else you notice.
It's this feeling of, it's a weird way to describe it, but all parts of me being here,
Hmm.
which makes me think like sometimes all parts of me aren't here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how does it feel when all parts of you are here?
It feels very, um, what's the right word? Gathered. Feels very gathered.
Yeah. And how does it feel to feel gathered?
It's funny. The image that comes to mind for me is when my dog is all curled up and all four of his paws are like right together. Yeah,
Little
so
four
it
paw
feels
prayer.
very, yeah, exactly. It feels very present
Hmm.
and in a very calming and um, like safe way.
Yeah. Yeah. And safety is so, so important. And, it makes sense that all of you wouldn't want to be there if you weren't feeling safe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now contrasting, you said you noticed like some muscles starting to tighten around your spine
Mm-hmm.
as you thought about your upcoming trip and, the logistics of that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious if we go from this calm place, with all of you present, and we focus all of you now on that tightening in your spine and just really feel into that and challenge yourself to just notice how many
Mm-hmm.
details you can feel. Think about size and shape, color, and density, warmth, and coolness. Notice, are the edges the same as the center? How far out it extends? What are you experiencing?
So what's interesting is I'm keeping that same feeling of calmness. The tension's not there, but it was that experience of feeling very gathered that
Mm,
I don't think I had been able to name around why work travel is so stressful for me. So like if I'm just if I'm gone for 2 days, it's no big deal, but I'm about to be gone for 2 weeks in a whole bunch of different places. And I feel very fragmented when
mm,
that's happening.
yeah.
And so what I realized, what like came to mind for me was actually bringing representation. I just like being home. I like to be with my family. I don't love travel.
Yeah.
Um, so just realize that what was very calming for me was actually realizing, plan the meals, plan the exercise, but it was actually bringing a photo of my family with me, like a framed photo, which I
Okay.
have never done before,
Yeah.
that would help me to kind of hold that feeling of
Hmm.
all of me being in one container.
Yeah. And everything, everyone you love being on that trip with you, even, in
Hmm.
representation.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
beautiful. And isn't it amazing how we could have spun around and around and talked in circles about it? And, when we asked the
Hmm.
body, it really just seems to have known what you needed.
Hmm.
And it wasn't
Hmm.
necessarily a step-by-step plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so interesting because when I'm traveling for work, I'm really busy and I don't actually have time to talk to my husband.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to make that time,
Hmm.
and just something as simple as bringing them with me, bringing those pieces with me. Actually, I wouldn't have come to that without this session. It's so strange.
And so how are you feeling about your trip now that you have this realization?
Calmer. Yeah, a lot calmer about it. And I actually feel like I can, uh, you know, in the mornings and the evenings, look at that picture and actually reclaim this feeling that I'm having right now, which
Yeah,
feels very supportive. And um, it just eliminates a lot of the stress that was kind of in my mind about it.
that's wonderful. So, since this has gone so well and it seems like you have a solution here that, you feel quite confident in, how would it feel to go back into the body for a little bit and just notice what
Mhm.
else might come up for you?
Sure.
Yeah, just go ahead and either close or soften your gaze. Just drop into the body and just see what you notice. Notice if there's any sensation that's drawing your attention or pulling at you more strongly.
I have this awareness of my feet feeling really grounded. Like I feel
Mhm.
really rooted.
Yeah. And how, when you say rooted, what images come to mind with that?
Um, like really like a tree, like planted in the ground, but in a really affirming, resourceful, nourishing way. Like it's heavy, but heavy, healthy.
Very healthy.
I think my natural state is more like a leaf flittering on the ground. um, and so like actually getting grounded feels solid
Yeah.
in a
So
good way.
let's just stay with that nice, strong, solid feeling. Just put your awareness there and, fully enjoy it. And just notice, what else comes up.
And the only thing that's really coming up is there's a tree right outside my window, my office window. And I just feel like that's what just keeps kind of like is in my mind is um, that tree.
Yeah.
Just sort of like showing me its presence.
Yeah. And what do you think is significant about that tree?
I think it is a couple of things. home. Like, I look at it all day, every day. So it's like part of it, I think, is it's home. And
Mhm.
then I think the other piece of it is what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 weeks. One piece of the trip is me being present for others.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of it is me going to do my own training, my own education and training. And so it's being present for myself, you know. Trees are very nourishing for me. Like that's
Mm.
what they represent. So I think it is about being really rooted and present so
Yeah.
that I have the resources available for others, but
Yeah.
also being really rooted and present so that I have the resources available for myself.
Yeah. And that's significant because it's hard to be present for others when we don't remember to be present for ourselves.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I know you already, we already talked about bringing the photo of the family on the trip with you.
Mhm.
What other things help you to be rooted and present?
Um, a really healthy food, which is just
Mm,
shockingly hard to find when you are not cooking in your own house.
yeah.
That is one of the biggest stressors for me around travel is just eating clean, healthy, whole foods.
Yeah.
And that occupies a lot of uh, like extra time in the
Yeah.
whole experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, feeling like you can't find good, healthy food, even though that's important to you, what do you notice happening in your body?
Uh, um, it's a feeling of agitation.
How do you know you're agitated?
Um, it feels like the way old TVs used to have fuzzy snow, you know?
Yeah.
It feels that way in my body.
Mm. So if you just focus on that feeling, even if it's not
Mhm.
comfortable, just of that fuzzy, static feeling in your body. Where do you feel it the strongest?
In here.
In your chest area. Yeah.
Mhm.
So just focus in on that. Don't try to change it or influence it in any way. There's no need to do anything with it. Just notice it and accept that it's there. And get really curious about it. What are you noticing?
It feels like it's actually, as I'm paying attention to it, calming down.
Yeah.
Uh, and it feels like it's saying to me, I'm just here to let you know, like, you need to take action. Like, what was like, it was sort of like, like the fuzzy thing that came on was just there to let you know it's time to turn the TV off. I'm just here to let you know you need
Yeah.
to pay attention to it so that you do something, so that
Yeah.
you don't just show up and realize you're either going to be hungry or you're going to eat food you don't want to eat,
Yeah.
So it just was like, it actually felt like uh, it was there to help me,
Hmm.
not bother me.
Yeah. And how does it feel? How does it feel different now that you realize that maybe it's there to help you versus bother?
Um, I feel grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like it's weird. The thing that's coming to mind for me is like, when you go to big conferences and they have the wayfinders with the signs that are like telling you what direction to go. It
Yeah.
was sort of like telling me, I'm just here to be a wayfinder. I'm just here to be a
Oh,
helpful, point you in the right direction so you don't get lost.
and isn't it nice that our system's able to do that for us?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
So as we wrap up here today, Robin, just have a couple minutes left. I know you have another meeting to get to. How would you like to end our session here today? What, if anything, do you need to feel complete?
Um, I think it would be nice to close with, I love the opening with a little mindfulness practice. I would love to
Um,
close with a little mindfulness practice.
you got it. So go ahead and close your eyes. And saw you letting out a big breath. So let's end the session focusing on the breath for a second, and just start off noticing it. Feel as you breathe in your chest, your diaphragm, your belly all expand. And the breath slowly moving out like the wave of an ocean, rolling in and out from the shore. It's completely effortless. And just immerse yourself in that sensation. You can always notice where your emotional state is or what your body's trying to tell you. Just focusing on the quality of this wave. Is it big and round and calm, or short and choppy and stormy? There's never need to change it. Just focus in and listen, hear the message it's trying to convey to you. When you're ready, I invite you to slowly open your eyes and come back here to the room. How do you feel?
I feel really complete. Like I'm going to go into my next meeting, kind of not bringing, just sort of like bringing openness and availability with me.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Well, thank you so much for working with me today, Robin. And, I really appreciate you letting me guide you through all this. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
You're welcome.